On this episode of How'd You Get Here, we talk with RE/MAX CEO Adam Contos. He runs one of the largest, most recognized brands in the world, and he is a very motivating guy. I hope you enjoy this episode. So Adam, the CEO of RE/MAX, like how cool is that?
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, it's got to feel kind of surreal, right? Like
a little bit, yeah.
To be like, wow, I'm the CEO of a huge company.
Yeah.
So cool. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a blast. I mean, I love the people in it.
Good people.
The business is great.
Yeah.
You know, it's fantastic. I mean, just to be able to change lives and help people, it's wonderful. You know, it's kind of that fulfilling thing that we all want to experience every day.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, I want to hear a lot. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story, kind of hear about how you grew up, you know, what your childhood was like, because the goal of this show, right, is just to encourage people to say, hey, you know what? You're not so far from where you want to be, and you have what it takes within you to achieve the things you want. And so give us a little glimpse into, you know, your childhood, where you grew up, you know, kind of like what you were into and, you know, who you were when you were younger.
All right. Yeah, and you're right. I look back, I actually grew up about, 5 miles from here. So
that's awesome. Where did you grow up?
Isn't that weird? Just, like south side of Cherry Creek Reservoir there.
Oh, okay. Where'd you go to high school?
Cherry Creek.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You were a Creeker?
Yeah.
Dude, I went to Smoky Hill.
Uh-oh.
I know. We used to always razz you guys at like basketball games and stuff like that.
That was a big rivalry.
Yeah.
But I grew up not far from here. My dad worked for the federal government, and my mom was a household engineer, I guess you could say, you know, keeping everything together.
Stay at home mom.
Yep.
That's why you're so well adjusted.
Really lucky.
You had that.
She was amazing. I mean, she's still amazing. Yeah. So, older brother, he's probably, a year and a half older than me. And then I have a younger sister who's 9 years younger than me. Okay. So, grew up not far from here. My dad was in law enforcement working for the federal government. So I always wanted to be a cop.
Yeah.
We would watch police shows, just the different Hawaii Five-0.
Right.
Chip
or what was that?
Chips.
Yeah,
the
Chips.
Motorcycle guys in California. Yeah. Whatever police show was on TV, we'd watch. It was a lot of fun. So that's what I wanted to do when I grew up. I've always been a little entrepreneurial as well. My brother and I built a lawn service business and had a bunch of customers. Kind of the what can we sell, provide service for, things like that around
Shovel
the
snow, mow lawns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get out and make some money because nobody was going to give it to you. You got to go out and work for it.
Yeah.
So did that. The day after graduated high school, joined the Marines.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you.
Yeah.
Dude.
So did what is it? June 3rd, I graduated high school. June 4th, I was on the bus.
Really? So had you been recruited before? Like they're coming to school and then you're like, man, I want to do that.
Well, my uncle was a Marine. So I thought he was kind of my hero, my dad's brother, artist. Just a big strapping man.
Marine,
big beard, tough guy.
Semper Fi.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I want to be like him. And so I really needed it as well. So joined the Marines right out of high school.
Were you a pretty rebellious kid or?
No, I was
pretty straight-laced,
I was straight-laced. I was low-key.
Yeah.
Didn't really have a clique of people that I hung out with. Just get through school and work while going to school. I worked at hodgepodge of jobs, things like that. Like when I was 14, I worked at Arapahoe and I-25. There was a restaurant there called Country Kitchen, so I washed dishes there. My parents would have to drop me off and pick me up at the end of the day. They'd show up at home smelling like pancakes and bacon and eggs and things like that.
That's awesome.
But it was fun. And then got into, I worked at a full service gas station. Okay. I pumped gas, cleaned the windows, checked the oil, checked the tire pressure, things like that. That was fun. Learned about that. And so I'd show up at home smelling like a grease monkey. and then joined the Marines.
Were you afraid?
No.
I mean, were you so was college kind of not on the table? Were you like, I really don't want to go to college. I want to be in the military.
I wanted to go to college, and my parents said, "Hey, you need to go to college."
Right.
So, and my brother, being older than me, he was already in college. So they said, "Hey, you need to go do that." So I joined the reserves.
Okay.
I went to boot camp, came back, went to college a little bit, and went back to different school type situations, active duty a little bit here and there. But I just wanted to learn about law enforcement. So that, of course, go for criminal justice. There's really two things you can do with a criminal justice degree. You can join the FBI or you can go be an attorney. So I wanted to be a police officer. So did that until I was old enough to go to a police academy. And I went through a police academy and then got my police commission. I was with Cherry Hills Police Department at the time. And then Douglas County Sheriff's Office hired me in 93.
Wow.
And so I was a street cop at that point.
Yeah.
So go out and it was fun. Go help people. That's what you do. You show up and they have a problem. You figure out what it is, or somebody else called because of their problem, and you help them. You figure out what the solution is to that. You go through and solve their problem. Business is the same way. People have a challenge. You provide a solution to that challenge. It just happens to be in law enforcement. Unfortunately, sometimes some of them end up going to jail. But that's just kind of the rules of the game, I guess.
Right. So. Yeah. So when you were in the military, then kind of in and out of school and stuff like that, and then in the police academy, essentially once you had gotten a job as a police officer, did you feel like you had made it, or was it kind of, were you of the old school mentality of like, oh, I'm going to have this job for 25 years, I'm going to be police chief, and then I'm going to retire? That's
exactly how I felt. I thought, I want to be the sheriff someday. Yeah, I mean, it's you get it and you go, well, first of all, it's the funnest job in the world. I mean, you're out in your police car. They give you a badge and a gun, and they train the heck out of you to make the good decisions, obviously. But you're out there making a difference, and you go, wow, and you get paid relatively well.
Yeah.
So, I thought I'll just, kind of do this for my career. I'll work my way up, and at some point I'll be the guy running the department. And that's kind of always what I looked at, is how can you maximize yourself? I didn't expect it overnight. I was just a regular patrolman. I worked in a drug task force, things like that, for a few years. But basically you look at it and go, how can I be the best doing what I'm doing? And I think some of that was instilled in the military. Don't just settle. Go and do everything you possibly can to be the best you can. And then I started working my way up through the sheriff's department. I made my way up to corporal, then sergeant, then I was a lieutenant after that. And it was great. I had a few patrol shifts. I ran the SWAT team, and it was a good time. I think I had the best job because I could drive around, and I had a bunch of sergeants that would take care of the stuff on the street. And I would go to SWAT calls, and it was just fun, and you get to help people. So
this was in the 90s.
Yep.
That you did that.
Yeah.
When did you were you around during like the Columbine stuff? Were you in the
I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so I experienced that. Not obviously something you want to experience or something you want to, ever see happen again. But that was one of the pivotal points in law enforcement where it changed how responses occurred to those situations, changed the tactics, the equipment, and processes that law enforcement used in order to provide a safer environment for our society. And frankly, it's, it happens all over the world.
Right.
Different societies respond to it differently and, regulate it differently, things like that. But the reality is now I think U.S. law enforcement is some of the best at responding to that anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. So you're living the dream. You're, part of running all these things with the sheriff department and kind of doing that. And at what point does that change? At what point does your life take a little bit of a turn?
Well, I've always been entrepreneurial. I started an online police supply company in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Selling things on the internet in the 90s was a little more challenging than it is now.
There was no eBay or...
No. It was crazy because, you're asking somebody for a credit card number and they go, why would I give you my credit card? It's this internet thing. And so it had its challenges. I stuck with it for a little while and thought, they're really more... The juice is not worth the squeeze, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
So I shut that down. And then I started a security consulting company. So was
this like a side hustle thing, like where essentially you're working during the day and then on the side you're doing another job essentially.
Yeah, yeah. As a cop, we worked 4 days a week.
Right.
So what do you do with the other 3? Right? You can only mow your lawn so many times. So
Well, it looks good.
yeah. Oh, my lawn looked awesome. We had a lot of days to do that. But and you work at night. So
Right.
what do you do during the day when you can't sleep? Hey, why not develop a side hustle? A lot of guys would sell real estate or mortgages or build fences or decks or paint houses or something like that. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in the public space. Firemen and police are very entrepreneurial because they have the time to do it. And frankly, they need something to get their heads out of the business that they've been doing. So you've got to feel some other purpose as well and something self-fulfilling. So mine was security consulting. I had learned to be a counterterrorism instructor, went to school for that, started looking at threat assessments, target hardening, and how to teach people how not to get hurt and killed while they're doing whatever they're doing. And I actually taught at the police academy as well. I was a 6-year police academy instructor.
Oh, wow.
So I was used to doing that. And I thought, I can make money doing this instead of getting paid $30 an hour at the police academy.
Right.
So I started my own company and got into teaching real estate agents how not to get hurt and killed doing their business. And that took off.
Yeah.
So that landed me kind of in the space.
Wow. So you're essentially working, you have your side hustle. At any point, did you want to just do your side hustle full time and kind of pursue that, or you were essentially just enjoying everything you were doing and nothing felt too much like a burden, so you just kind of continued down that path?
Right. I mean, I loved the side hustle and I love my primary job. I mean, they're just both fantastic. Why do something you don't enjoy, right?
Right, yeah.
So, and then I had an offer from Remax since I was doing so much of my side hustle with them, they said, hey, why don't you come work here full time? So I said, okay, I have to shut down law enforcement. I have to shut down the side hustle. I'll go do that.
Okay.
And it was a big risk. I took a massive reduction in the revenue coming in.
Right.
But hey, you don't find opportunity without taking risks sometimes.
So was there a lot of internal debate, or was there a little fear making that leap, kind of changing what you had been doing and going into something that's a little bit, foreign and kind of a different? I mean, I feel like it seems like a huge risk for you to say, all right, I'm going to, an opportunity, I'm all about, like, sometimes opportunities come our way and it's our job just to walk through that door or like take that opportunity up, because, sometimes people allow opportunity to pass them because of fear or, worries. And so when that came, was that a difficult decision for you, or did you just have a good sense or feel about it? Like, yeah, I think this is the right next step.
I'm going to say both. I mean, every opportunity has risk. And if you never take a risk, you're never going to see change in your life. You may continue down the same path that you're doing. Maybe you work a little harder, you leverage what you're doing a little bit more. But the reality is you got to take risks. I mean, they're calculated, but there's a possibility of failure. So yes, it was scary. I thought, I've got this great job, and people in a government job or people in a pension pension type job where you can go, all right, I'm shooting for retirement. If you don't get out of that, you're fine. You're going, all right, I'm going to retire at some point with whatever amount of pension I'm going to end up with. But if you do get out of it, you get looked at a little bit weird by some of those that are in it. And they go,
are you an idiot?
Yeah. What are you, are you nuts?
Yeah.
So
why would you give that up?
Yeah. And I got that to an extent.
Hmm.
I had some people go, are you sure this is what's right for you? Now, the beauty of being a cop is you can go back and be a cop again if you leave on good terms. You never burn a bridge.
Yeah.
So, granted, I couldn't go back and be a lieutenant again. I'd have to start over again at the bottom. But it was safe, relatively safe. But that wasn't an option that I was considering. I wasn't leaving to fail. Mm-hmm. I was leaving to go succeed. I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go do the very best I can. I want to go to a company that I'm going to, I wanted to be the sheriff there. I'm going to go to a company and I'm going to be the very best that I can for that company, and where I end up, I end up. So that's what I did when I left law enforcement and I went to Remax. Yeah. And started working my way through the company.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's almost, serendipitous as far as, or not serendipitous, but I would say that you put yourself out there, right? And I'm assuming was it Remax like headquarters that hired you as a consultant, or how did you start working with them on the law enforcement side of things?
Yes. So I was doing security consulting, teaching a program that Remax and I co-developed for real estate agent safety. In teaching that program, I did a 32-city North American speaking tour. Where I would travel around. I would speak on a public stage to a bunch of real estate agents, and then I would go meet with the regions, meet with the brokerages, meet with the agents, and say, okay, here's, what questions can I answer? Let's talk about your business. The reality is you can't go in and change somebody's business and say, hey, do less business and you're going to be more safe. They want to know how to do more business and be more safe. So I had to really understand the real estate business. I spent a great deal of time studying it, interviewing a lot of real estate agents and brokers, saying, how can I make these people more effective but also more safe? And interestingly enough, the awareness, the decision-making, the ability to communicate with people appropriately and solve problems helps business. It's the same thing. It's just you're dealing with a safety situation instead of a business situation. So it worked out really well. And as a result of that, I was basically doing, in addition to safety consulting, I was doing business consulting for them as well. So Remax was interested in me being a business consultant for them, dealing with the franchisees and the agents.
Right.
And that's what I started doing.
Nice. So how did that initial relationship start? Did you know somebody at Remax, or did you have a program that was on the internet that someone found you and reached out, or how did that?
I had met the founder of Remax, Dave Linegar, before. So I knew somebody at Remax.
Yeah.
But that's not the avenue that I took for this. I created value. I called them up and I said, hey, I see a challenge you're having. I mean, this is like the epitome of how to sell to somebody.
Yeah.
I see the challenge you're having. Is there something that I can help you with? Because I have a few ideas. And they go, yes. I said, can I come talk to you about it? Yes. So I had called Margaret Kelly, who was the president of Remax at the time. Fantastic person. I went and met with her, and I presented to the executive team, hey, here's what I would do. And by the way, I've built a program. Here you go. Would you like it? And I got a call back the next day from her, and she says, yes, we want your program, and we want you to come teach it for us. So we worked out a business deal on that, and I consulted for them for a year doing that.
But it was really you putting in that effort, the work, coming up with the idea and saying, all right, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go pitch this idea essentially to this company.
Yes.
So I think that's, there's a lot to be said about that. If a lot of times we have ideas and we have the what ifs, or, I could do something like that. But until we act on them, or until we put the hard work in and develop something, nothing ever comes of it, And so I think that's pretty cool, just to see, because, you probably weren't ever thinking, I'm going to be the CEO of Remax when you're, consulting them. You're just thinking like, okay, I really like what I do and I can help this, segment out and be a part of what they're doing. And so that's awesome. So then you come on, you start doing business development, franchise sales, and kind of working your way through that and building relationships and just doing your thing.
Yeah, it was more franchise consulting than sales.
Okay.
I didn't get into the sales part for several years, but it was going and helping the franchisee, understanding their economic model, understanding how they gain business, and really, from a consultative standpoint, helping them develop their business, be their confidant, and be their friend. I mean, people want to be helped, and if you can help them really well, then they will want to do business with you. You build this trust, this transparency, this relationship, and it just is fantastic. And that's really, fundamentally what our business model is about is go help people build something bigger than it is now. And that's what entrepreneurialism is.
Yeah. Did you have any mentors or anything like that when you were coming up that you reached out to or connected with, or?
Yeah, I reached back out to, I learned from as many people as I could. I mean, you have to have people who don't have a thirst for learning, never figure out who they can learn from. So, that's the first thing is you have to say, yes, I want to learn. And then you have to go to people and say, I want to learn from you. I would love to get a little bit of your time. There's a way to approach a mentor. I talked to Margaret for a while. She's the one who brought me on. She became the CEO. I talked to Dave, the co-founder of the company. He started mentoring me 14 years ago, something like that, 15 years ago. And you look around and you just can't be afraid to ask. You see somebody doing something that you like, or that you know, wow, this person's adding a great deal of value. I want to go ask them, how do you do that? And why do you do that? And give me some pointers and some challenges, and what are your failures and what are your successes, things like that. But just sitting there, a lot of people just kind of sit there and go, okay, who's going to come teach me? And that's not how you get better.
Right.
You got to be hungry for it. You got to go out and get it.
Yeah.
So yes, I did seek that out, but I also learned that it's not about what people give you. It's about what you give yourself. You have to become more. Jim Rohn says, it's not going and getting success, I guess. It's becoming successful. And it's about growing yourself personally. Yeah. So you got to educate yourself constantly. Are you watching TV? Are you binge watching a little, Netflix or whatever? Or are you going out and you reading Harvard Business Review? Are you figuring out what the challenges are in your industry? Are you calling customers that are not your customers? Maybe they're somebody else's, and saying, hey, if I was trying to get a customer like you, what would I need to do? Asking the right questions to people. And people will help you. They want to help you. They want to answer your questions. Yeah. But if you're not asking or you're not approaching, and that's part of accepting failure, you're going to get people saying, no, I don't want to talk to you. Okay, fine. Move on to the next one. That one's, water off the duck's back.
Right.
Just keep moving on.
Yeah. So now you're working at Remax. You're doing that. What were there ever things that you went through that you felt like, man, this is challenging, but you just continue to kind of forge through, or continue to pursue that? Or, I guess not even at Remax, but has there ever been a situation in your life where you hit something difficult, and then because you pushed through it, it kind of helped you? It gave you the confidence, I guess, to kind of go to the next level.
There have been many situations that everybody has challenges, be it your car breaks down or you have a relationship challenge with somebody. I got divorced. That was challenging.
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with my first wife. We have a wonderful daughter together. But the reality is you have to try to make your way through that. And a lot of people sit back and go, oh, this is horrible, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But realistically, everything will pass at some point. You just have to have the fortitude to get through it and the positive attitude. And you can let it eat you up, or you can do your very best to stay motivated, keep your brain in the right place, keep your health and your body in the right place, and you'll make your way through it. And I learned by failing. I every now and then you get burned out doing what you're doing. You have difficult challenges. When I was in law enforcement, you'd have difficult calls that would eat at you for a long time. Different things happening. You see friends get hurt or killed. It's tough. And it's the same with life. We all face challenges. It's not the challenge you face, it's how you face the challenge. What are you doing to learn from it, to help people through it? Because if you help other people through it, you're helping yourself through it. And what do you do to move on from it? Everybody has problems. There's nobody who goes through and, we see these people every now and then, and they go, you think, oh, wow, that person's so lucky. They don't have any problems. Just like wonderful unicorns and fairies come from the sky and give them wonderful stuff. That's not the case with anybody. You just don't see their challenges because they're not wearing them on their shoulders like a badge of honor or something like that. They're dealing with them, and they're coming out and they're saying, how can I help you? Yeah. So that's a big thing for me.
I know you went, you got your MBA, right?
Yes.
Recently, over the past few years. Was that difficult going back to school, as a 40-year-old?
Unbelievably. But it's one of those situations you look at and go, why am I doing this? And then you realize, wow, I'm getting a lot out of this.
Right.
And it's, do you look at the challenge or you look at the opportunity?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to look at the opportunity. And that's really in business, life, things like that. You see people who are perpetually happy, and you see people who are perpetually frustrated, sad, upset, challenged, things like that. The people that go, nothing good ever happens to me. That's because you never try to make good stuff happen for you.
Right.
So you feed into these challenges instead of looking for the opportunity. How many people have been shot down in a business deal and they go, oh, this is horrible, I lost this big deal, and they go and sulk and they have some drinks and then they eat a pie or whatever it is, and they go, oh, I'm gonna eat my feelings. But no. Go and put some positive stuff on in your head and your headphones, and go to the gym and run 10 miles or go do some sit-ups or go for a walk. Go get with your dog, and they give you never-ending love. But it's how you deal with the challenge is really the true test of where you're going to end up.
Yeah. So when you finally graduated, was that like a huge burden lifted off your shoulders that you felt like, nice, I have an MBA?
Yeah, it's you look at it and you go, all right, now what? I mean, that's and now what is it's funny you think about that, because you should not be. I mean, that's not the top of the mountain,
right?
You go, that's a process, and there are people who are in it for the process, and there are people in it for the results. I love the process. I love the chase. The catch, it's like a dog that caught a car. Now what do you do? Right?
Yeah.
Go get another car.
Right.
Go chase another car because you just caught this one. All right, check that box.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic learning experience. We, spent a couple thousand hours over a couple years going through this while doing a full-time job. I was the senior vice president of marketing and business development and chief operating officer while working on my MBA.
Wow.
And so you've got to. That's a test not only of your study skills, which every entrepreneur has to have incredible time management skills.
Yeah.
Or really, time management is self-management. How do you manage yourself from doing the things that waste time? Because we all have the same number of minutes in a day.
Yeah.
1,440 minutes in a day. You got to sleep some of those. You have to eat some of those. You have to spend time with your loved ones in some of those. And you probably have to have a job in some of those. So that leaves a certain amount of time that you can study, that you can learn, or you can be surfing social media, you can be wasting time on Netflix, you can be sitting in front of the TV watching a ball game, doing your Final Four stuff or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I do your brackets or your fantasy football, things like that. I mean, what are you trying to get out of life? Are you going to go, when you're sitting there going, all right, I'm going to die today, do you go, I killed it in 2019 on my brackets? I mean, is that what you're going to look back and do?
Right.
Or are you going to go, I enjoyed the heck out of the time with my family and my dog?
Yeah.
Right? Or I did something for people in my business that I never thought I could accomplish. I mean, there you go. It's not, a lot of people don't look back and say, I accomplished stuff, though. A lot of people look back and they regret the things they didn't do. And the things that they didn't do are the things that they accomplish if they do them. Right? So, you don't want to look back and go, I didn't spend enough time with my family. You want to look back and go, wow, I spent a lot of time with my family. So is it going to be, I'm glad I did, or I wish I had?
Yeah. How do you balance all that? For you personally, you have a wife and kids, and you're running a company. Like, what do you do in your life that gives you that space, or do you try to have boundaries on certain things and be intentional?
Yes. First of all, yes, you have to have boundaries and you have to be intentional. You have to learn how to very nicely say no to people. And it's not that you're shooting them down. It's that you have other things that fit in that time that maximizes your presence on earth. Such as, hey, do you want to go to the game, or do you want to go golfing, or do you want to I don't know, do whatever, go on a bike ride. Oh, my kid has got a game that day, or I want to spend that time with my wife, or I went home last night and my dog was sitting at the door going, you haven't taken me for a walk in 3 weeks. It's what I look at it instead of occupying time. I look at it as occupying my heart, because we're all emotional beings. What is the right thing to do for other people? And it may be, hey, yeah, let's go on a bike ride, or hey, I'll go hang out with my buddies, spend some time with them, but I'm also going to make sure that I fit that other thing in. So it might not be the amount of time, it's the quality of time. And that's important for, we've got all these things we need to balance.
Right.
Our family, our faith, our health, our finances, our business, friends, all these different things. And you go, all right, what have I neglected last? And does that need to jump up in priority here? It's awareness. Same thing in business. You go into business, you can find yourself doing things that are a waste of time. That's the reality. People show up for work. You know what they do? They get on their email.
Right.
Email is not a good use of your time.
It's a time suck.
It is. It totally is. I mean, whoever says go in the office and the first thing you should do is put on the coffee and dig into your email, that doesn't work.
Right.
You know what you need to do? You need to go in the office. That is your highest productivity time of the day, is as soon as you get there. You're fired up and you haven't turned on your computer yet. So go in and do something productive. Call your customers. Go get new customers. Whatever it is, you're the most resilient first thing in the day. Take advantage of it. It's the same thing. You're the most resilient with, you get home and maybe you're burned out from the day of work, or you worked really hard, or if you're in a physical job or something like that, you're tired physically. But the reality is you got to hit the reset button and go smile at somebody, tell them you love them, hug them, spend some time with them, direct time, look at them in the face and say, okay, this is quality. And if you end up using the lion's share of your time as really quality time, okay, then you can have a little entertainment time. Then you can unwind and get ready for the next day. But it's how do you use your time? It's about quality.
Yeah. So take us on the journey from you're kind of rising through the ranks at Remax, and then you get the call or the email or the come to our office, we have to talk to you. And you're like, okay. Like that journey from going from where you were to becoming CEO, and, what kind of stuff was going through your mind, or, did you have any fears or anxieties about that at all?
Sure. I mean, you always have fears and anxieties, and these things just don't, they don't happen with like the wave of a magic wand. In business, there should always be a succession plan and how that works. And typically the succession plan in a business involves multiple people. And those multiple people are trying to get to the same place. There's only one CEO in a company typically. And that means that some people get it and or one person gets it and some people don't. So you have to work with those other people in working your way to that. And that's a test of leadership. That's a test of human fabric. Instead of being me, you have to be us, us. And understand that you may or may not end up there. I may not have ended up there. But the reality is I need to help all those other people as best I can to be the very best that they can be. And not expect any reciprocation in the whole thing. It's anytime you go into a relationship or you're going to help somebody, it's a 100-0 relationship. You give 100%, expect 0 in return. There's no 50-50 relationship. I don't know whoever came up with that. This is a 50-50 thing. No, it's not. It's a 100-0. We're both going to give 100%, and whatever happens, happens. Right. So you have to put that whole shared experience aside. It is give everything you got. Yeah. And so, we went through several years of we're all helping each other, and we understand where our gaps are, where our weaknesses are. Obviously, mine was I didn't have an MBA. I'm going to go get my MBA. So, work on that. Do I know? How's my marketing prowess? Am I doing something with that? I oversaw marketing for a while, so it was how can I learn the most about marketing possible? I want to be a marketing guru. Okay, may not make it in 3 to 5 years, like somebody would in 15 to 20, but gosh darn it, I'm going to know as much as I can possibly fit in my head when it comes to that. Same thing with sales. How do you get better at sales? Go sell something. Right. You go out there and you fail. So I ran our business development department and worked with the sales team. And I went out and I sold franchises and said, hey, this is what we do. I want to be very, very good at it. Same thing with running operations in the company. How do I get good at that? That's what you have to look at these things, and that's how you kind of work your way towards that. While it was, rewarding and personally gratifying and things like that, you get the call of, okay, we're going to make you the CEO, which is a meeting with the board. They kind of do an interview and things like that.
Yeah.
They say, okay, we've decided we're going to do this. It is now here's a load of bricks on your shoulders. And you go, whoa, okay. I'm excited about doing it.
Right.
Challenge or opportunity, though. Decision, it's the same decision tree.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity, an opportunity for me to prove to them that they made the right decision. And how do I do that? First thing is people. You got to impact the people in the organization. We're a people organization. We're not a warehouse full of robots that are creating something. Right. This is a building full of individuals that are helping people. We're people helping people helping people helping people. And that's really our business model.
You're the top of the people helping people.
Yeah, exactly. So how do we do the very best we can with that? And that starts with transparency, trust, ethics and honesty, helping people achieve their goals and get through their challenges and things like that. So
that's awesome.
I don't know if I answered your question, but that's
I mean, I think that kind of gets it answered. So what are some things that have impacted you? Like, what are some ideas or philosophies that were shared with you, or motivational talks, or what are some ideas that stand out to you as far as that have made an impact in your life?
So one of the biggest things that's impacted me when it comes to business leadership was told to me by the CEO of SAP Software, Bill McDermott. I was at a small mastermind group, and he was brought in to kind of do a little fireside chat with all of us. And I said, I want to be in your seat. What advice would you give me? And he said, there are two things you need to know to be a good business leader. The first one is to stay hungry, and the second one is to stay humble. He said, you're a person. You're not special. You're not anything different. Your job is to help people. But you have to stay hungry doing that. You have to constantly be looking for who can I help, both in the business and in society. What is your corporate social responsibility platform? How do you do the very best for the community? Because without community, the business does not exist. So take care of your customers, take care of your community, take care of your employees, and you know what? That will all take care of your shareholders. So it was stay humble and stay hungry. And that was a huge piece of advice to me. I think about it every day. And probably the other one was always be learning. If you haven't learned something today, what have you accomplished? You may have closed a deal or something like that,
right.
but did you get better? That's the question. It's Darren Hardy, who's a great guy. I just went to a 3-day seminar of his earlier this week, talking about business growth. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's not going to stand on stage and have you high five each other or rub each other's
Tony Robbins
back.
type.
Yeah, but he's going to tell you, here's some ideas that if you implement these ideas, they will help you help people. Marketing, sales, hiring the right people, training them, establishing good leadership principles and accountability in your office or in your company and in your business. He talked a lot about those, and he's always had this hunger for learning. And I saw that and I thought, that guy's got something. He's been doing it for 20, 25 years, and he's just been fantastic at it. Okay, I'm going to try that. So, probably, 10, 15 years ago, I started seeing that, but I've really reinforced that over the past 5 to 8 years. And you can learn, you look at getting an MBA, every 2 to 3 years, you can have your own MBA.
Yeah.
You can have as much information as you would get going and getting an MBA if you just go look for it.
Right.
You look at podcasts. All I got to do is pull up Google and type in business improvement or self-improvement or time management or sales improvement, things like that. And you got more stuff than you can possibly consume in a day. Go sit on the bike at the gym or on the treadmill and get better.
Yeah.
So you don't have to listen to, the radio station driving down the highway going home at night. Put on a podcast. You're listening to one right now.
That's right.
So
yeah, getting encouraged,
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's very important to kind of, and I think when you're educating yourself constantly, that it helps you stay hungry. I find for myself, because I love listening to audiobooks and, constantly consuming information and content. But I find that when I'm doing that, it inspires me to go out and do something or try something different or, pursue something new. And I think that's important because when I'm just binge watching Netflix, I find myself not that motivated to grow or anything like that. You kind of get lost into your little self bubble and don't spend any time, improving or growing. And so, yeah, I think that's very important. What about, do you have any great books or things like that you have loved, so much that maybe you bought some and gave to people or friends or anything like that? Any great resources that you may recommend?
I'll kind of work my way backwards.
Okay.
The book that I have a few on my desk that I give out to certain people right now. The current book is called Willpower.
Okay.
I'll think of the guy's name that wrote it here, but there are a lot of books about willpower. This one's just called Willpower.
Okay.
And Baumeister is his last name.
Okay.
So that book talks about the social psychology and the psychology of doing things. Why do people do what they do? And it's fascinating when you start understanding the human brain, how we tick, why super achievers and super performers are that way. And you can see that human beings are not different. You and I, while we have our own personalities, we look different, whatever it is, we're still human beings.
Right.
We both have the same capabilities. Granted, I cannot sing or play a guitar or anything like that like you can.
Yeah.
You know what? Reality is I haven't even tried. So, but it's we're all capable of doing amazing things.
Yeah.
So realistically, why do some do and why do some not do? So willpower is a great way of looking at that. They look at exercise and dieting all the way to the people that put themselves through extremely torturous environments.
Oh yeah, I saw like a documentary about a guy who he either goes into extremely like hot saunas or something like that, or like freezing cold water. Like I think it's something like where he can lower his heart rate, like with his willpower, mental, prowess, and go into normal water that would kill somebody because it's so cold. Then he can go into it and slow his heart rate down enough. It's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's fascinating because really when you look at I heard this from a Navy SEAL friend of mine. I said, "How do you do this? How do you do these things?" He says, "Well, the reality is the human mind will quit before the human body does." He goes, "I just go until my body quits instead of when my mind quits."
Interesting, yeah.
So it's it's performance coaching, personal performance coaching, and going out to accomplish more. You look at like when Usain Bolt won the Olympics, right. The sprint. He broke this massive world record. But you know what? The guy behind him broke the world record also, and the guy behind him broke the world record also. How can three people break a world record in one race?
Right.
Why is that? You know why? Because they were trying to catch him.
Yeah.
So they, the one guy, when he was interviewed, they said, "Hey, you got second." He goes, "Oh, I got second." They go, "Yeah, but you broke the world record." He goes, "Oh, but I got second." And they go, "Well, why? How did you break the world record though? You've never run that fast in your life." He goes, "I was just trying to keep up with Usain." So you think about it and you say, where's the bar set for me? Because as human beings, we will only try to get over the bar.
Yeah.
And if the bar is set really high, and maybe you don't quite get over it, but you overachieved where you were before, it's willpower.
Yeah.
You didn't put this mental barrier in your head. The bar is the mental barrier.
Right.
So raise the bar is really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And that's how these extreme performers achieve things. You want to learn how to speed read? Go learn how to speed read. If you want to consume more books, or buy them on Audible and put them in the car when you're driving down the road. I mean, you can read a book in 3 days. A 600-page book in 3 days on Audible.
Yeah.
By driving to and from work.
Audible doesn't sponsor the show, but if you want to sponsor the show, we're taking sponsorships.
There you go.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think willpower is I mean, it's just so true. I mean, I think I think too, we were kind of talking off the air about how you were saying, your biggest competitor is yourself.
Right.
You're the person that you're trying to do better than is yourself, right? That your best yesterday is now your new bar to do better than,
Exactly. Yeah. It was funny. You had asked me who's my biggest real estate competitor.
Right. Yeah. Who's Remax's competitor?
Yeah. It's funny because you can look at it, and every business, every person can look at this and go, who's my biggest competitor? And, it might be a coworker you're trying to get a job ahead of. It might be, another business you're trying to beat out, whatever. And you're absolutely right, Mark. The biggest competitor you have is yourself. You are your own limiting factor. And I don't care where you're at in business, in society, in your human being. If you want to be healthier, it's not your calendar that is your biggest competitor. It is not what you bought at the store and put in your refrigerator. It is yourself. It is your self-control to go and be better every day. Yeah,
I heard someone recently too say that, to think like that, right? So, how does a healthy person think, right? How does a healthy person, they think about, okay, what they're eating. They think about the time they're going to go to the gym. And if we really want to make changes and differences, that we have to start thinking like those people who are doing those things,
Exactly. And changes and differences are interesting. I'll give you another book here. This is, Willpower is my latest book. Probably my best book is The Compound Effect. Darren Hardy wrote that.
Okay.
And what that has to do with is the little bitty changes you make every day adding up over a long period of time. So success and business and life, your relationships, things like that, they're not a sprint. They're not a one-time thing where you walk in and flick on the switch and go, done. They're a marathon, a never-ending marathon. And you go, it's the grind. The reality is that's the only way to win. Play the long game. So it's tortoise and the hare. The hare never wins, right? It's always a tortoise, coming across the finish line. The hare is sitting there having a carrot somewhere under a tree going, he's never going to beat me. That's the reality of life is everybody's in this, we're in an app society. We want instant gratification on everything. We want to be able to go, boom, there it is, click and buy, instead of taking the long approach to everything. Business is the same way. People are the same way. If you think, okay, I'm going to work on this relationship. I'm going to go and I'm going to smile at that person and tell them, give them some personal recognition or gratitude every single day. That's going to be way more powerful over the period of 2 to 3 years than it will be over a week. If you just go and shower them with gratitude for a week, they'll go, what happened? And then you're done after that week. It's the long game. Same with business.
Yeah.
It's value over time. So compound effect. That's
compound effect.
That's probably that's probably my number one favorite, and I've read it like 3 or 4 times. I keep going back to it because it's a reminder. I love those
kind of books. Yeah, where it's just I always read. Probably every year I try to read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
Because it has a lot of those. I find myself reading it and getting inspired and coming up with ideas because I'm like, man, I really want money to work for me. I don't want to kind of push you, out of your comfort zone. All right. Well, I want to get to know a little bit more about who Adam Contos is as far as interest. Do you have any hobbies? Do you do anything that for yourself?
I love the outdoors.
Okay.
Going on a hike, going on a walk. I have 2 German Shepherds.
Okay. So you like German Shepherds?
I love German Shepherds. Okay. Yeah. They're amazing creatures.
Maybe the whole cop thing fed into that.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just a majestic animal. They're intelligent. Super smart, super loving. I mean, mine are both, I have male and a female, Piper and Seymour.
Nice.
And they're 15 months old.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
they're
young. Had you had any dogs before that, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a lot of German Shepherds.
Oh, okay. Just have passed away or whatever.
Yep.
And then were you without some for a little bit, and now you just got these little puppies?
No, Gus was my last German Shepherd. He passed away in November. We actually got Piper and Seymour. They were born November 29th.
Okay.
So a couple months after Gus passed.
Yep.
And went through the puppy stage, trained the heck out of them so that they're respectable.
Do you adhere to like the Cesar Millan, like kind of training, or what do you do?
No, I have a good friend who is kind of he's probably the number one canine handler dog unit trainer in the world.
Oh, wow.
He's trained 8,000 dog handler groups in law enforcement, military, government stuff, things like that. And so he helped create this litter of German Shepherds, and very close friend. I've known him for a couple decades.
Yeah.
And so we've been working together to train the dogs. He goes, I'm not training your dog. You're training your dog. I'm going to show you how to train your dog. So,
Nice.
Kind of that, don't do it for me, show me how to do it type thing. But so they're good dogs, and with just lifelong relationship. Their sister is with him.
Oh, okay.
So every now and then they all get together and they run around
nice.
and wrestle. But
and are they super loving, but then can they attack? If someone comes to the door, you're like, "Hakakalem," or
they make a lot of noise. Seymour's 95 pounds now.
Oh, okay.
And he's got a big bark, and he's a big dog.
It's just scary looking. Yeah, 100
Yeah.
pound.
But he's more like, hey, do you have a cookie? He just says it in this man-child voice.
Right.
So it's but they're super lovey. Instinctively, those dogs will be protective, but they're just you could come walking in my house and sit on my floor, and they would climb all over you and give you kisses.
Really? Yeah.
But for some reason, they know when people are doing bad things. We give off different scents.
Right.
We act differently. They are masters of body language. And I wish I had the senses that my dogs have, because then you could look at somebody and go, that person's up to no good.
Right.
Or, oh, that person they're feeling down today. They're hurting, whatever. You get these feelings about people, but dogs know those feelings because we give off different smells we don't know. We can't
Right.
detect them.
Yeah.
But they can tell whether or not you're embarrassed, you're scared, you're running from something, things like that.
Interesting.
And you go, how do they know? Well, they know. They're
Yeah.
intuitive. It's the whole, if my dog doesn't like you, I don't like you.
Right. So you're into dogs, German Shepherds. You take them for hikes and walks, stuff like that. Any other, like to travel or
Travel a lot.
for work?
Yeah, mostly for work. But
Internationally.
yeah, it's I love to travel. I love to be at home though. Also, my family. I've got a great relationship with my wife and my kids.
Nice.
I'll talk to my son every now and then. He goes to school in California, but my daughters are home. I love to see them. We do a lot of teenage kid stuff, soccer, plays, musicals, things like that. Ashley sings in the choir too. So
Nice.
it's we're still at a heavy kid involvement period of our life.
Right.
And we love to be around each other. And
Yeah.
so I like to work on that part of my life, have great relationships with your family, have some very close friends. You can't be friends with everybody. You can be acquaintances with a lot of people, but you can't be friends with everybody. So pick some friends and have a very close, tight relationship with them, and treat them like their family. It's okay to love your friends. I mean, to go up and hug your buddy and go, hey man, I love you, I miss you, and they go, hey, me too. So I mean, and as we get older, it's even more prevalent because you go, hey, remember when we were like 30 and we would go get a beer or something like that? And they go, yeah, wow, that was so long ago.
Right.
But I've got a few friends that I hang out with.
That's good.
But and then when I'm not doing any of those things, it's read a book, listen to a podcast. I exercise every day, get up at 4:30 every morning.
4:30?
Yeah.
That's a Darren Hardy schedule, huh?
A little bit. But,
But you try to go to bed by 10 or something like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Go to bed at a decent hour.
Okay, yeah.
And disconnect from everything electronic.
Yeah.
Several hours
Do you
before.
like go to a gym, or do you like work out at home, like a home gym kind of thing?
I could go to a gym.
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah, it's
24-hour fitness or
Yeah, it's down south of here. They're open 24 hours.
Oh,
you
nice.
just got to beep in with your card,
Yeah.
and there's nobody there, so you can go in and
Just really focus.
yeah. Nobody bothers you. It's nice.
Yeah.
So I do that every day. Some days I'll go to a spin class. I've never ridden a road bike in my life, but I go sit on one in the gym and pretend I'm riding up a hill or whatever it is.
It's like, push it.
Yeah.
With the whole waking up at 4:30 thing, do you ever want to hit the snooze button? Like, how do you push through that pain? There's a great book out there called Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
Have you read that
Hal
book?
Elrod.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I read his book, and I was like, oh, man, this sounds like, especially with having young kids. My kids are 10 to 5 years old, and so it's so quiet that early in the morning. There's been times where I've had to like fly somewhere, so I had to get up super early to be at the airport on time, and I'm like, man, it's so nice and quiet, but I don't know if I have the gumption within me to get up at 4:30 every day.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever traveled more than 2 or 3 time zones away?
Let me try to think. Yeah, I've been to Paris.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Anybody who says they can't get up that early hasn't thought, okay, I go somewhere else and I get up that early. So all you got to think about is I'm a couple time zones away. Pretend you're on the East Coast, okay?
Yeah.
So 4:30 here is 6:30 on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Would you get up at 6:30 on the East Coast?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's the same as getting up at 4:30 here. So there's really no reason not to get up whenever you want to get up.
Yeah.
And do you think about hitting the snooze button? Sure, you do. But you can think about hitting the snooze button, or you can just say to yourself, I got to get to the gym.
Right. So does the alarm go off and then you're like running shorts, tennis shoes, and you're out the door? Like you don't give yourself time to think about.
So
my bed's so warm and cozy.
So here's my morning. It's alarm goes off and I get up. I do not hit the snooze button.
Okay.
Snooze button is no bueno.
Right.
That's not good,
You're the
man.
CEO of a company. Come on.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
You don't become CEO hitting the snooze button.
Yeah, you don't let the snooze button take over your life. So you get out of bed because I know, and I prepare the day before.
Okay.
All my stuff is my gym clothes are set up where I
Okay.
need them to be. My protein shake and all the stuff I need to get out the door. My clothes for going to the office because I'll go to the office from the gym.
Okay.
So all that's set up. Everything is set up. I don't go to bed until I'm prepared for the next day.
Okay.
So preparation is huge.
Key, yeah.
And then the alarm goes off. I know I have so many minutes to get certain things done. That's what I'm now focused on as a deadline. My deadline is I got to be out the door. It's 4:30.
Right.
I got to be out the door by 5:15.
Right.
Okay. So
because you want to be at work by like what 7:30, 8 o'clock or something like that.
7:15.
Okay.
So I have 45 minutes to go let the dogs out and say hi to them. They get personal time.
Yep.
As well as eat breakfast, have my green shake. I listen to something called a Darren Daily every day.
Okay.
As soon as I wake up, first thing I do when I turn on my phone, I don't look at emails or text messages or a calendar or whatever. It's play on the Darren Daily 5 days a week. Go to darrendaily.com. It's worth it. Just little personal improvement things. It's 5 minutes. And I'll sit there and I'll eat my yogurt and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it is 5:15 out the door. And typically my wife is up and ready
She's
to
up
go.
too?
Oh, yeah.
Future business leader. What does she do? She's CEO of a company too?
She's a real estate agent.
Oh, okay, look at that.
So,
Remax?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Good guess.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so
okay. So she's up, she's out.
Yeah, she's out also. Maggie, our 15-year-old, she's up some of the time too. So you get a 15-year-old up to go to the gym at 5:15. That's a huge accomplishment. And then go work out. Have to do an hour there. I have calorie goals. I want to hit between 800 and 1,000 calories, things like that. I wear a heart rate monitor. I measure everything.
Yeah.
You don't measure it, you can't manage it. Okay.
Okay.
And then and by the way, I don't listen to music while I'm working out. It's podcasts.
Okay. Educational stuff. Audiobooks.
I'll get like Gary Vee. I'll listen to his in the morning.
Yeah.
I listen to his quite a bit. I like the marketing ideas. I like to hear what's going on in different generations, stuff like that. Entrepreneur stuff, audiobooks, whatever it is. I just got a new download of a whole bunch of Darren Hardy stuff, so I'll go back and redo that again. It's about repetition.
Yeah.
Same, but it's also about implementation. So then I take notes on my phone. I record what my workout is on my phone. I write it down as I do an exercise. And then I also, any good ideas, I have a quotes thing
Yep.
or a note, and I'll write that down and I'll revisit it during the day to implement in my business.
Yep.
Out the door to the office, protein drink, whatever, hit the ground running. So
Boom.
that's it.
Look at that. That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah, every day.
I'm working up to it.
Come on, Mark.
4:30. Oh, is that inspired by the Miracle Morning, or is that something you'd been doing for a while?
I've been doing it for quite a while. I read the Miracle Morning.
Like you do the math of like, okay, I want to be at work by 7:30, so that means I have to be up at this time to.
Yeah. I when I read the Miracle Morning, I'm like, oh, first of all, how does he only work out for that long? It's like what, 10 minutes or something like
exactly.
that. But I thought I could do the meditation. So it's after I work out, it's steam room for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, just kind of clear your mind.
Meditate.
Yeah.
And, shower up, get the heck out of there.
Boom. That's awesome. What about favorite foods? I mean, what's your favorite food?
I'll eat just about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my wife and I are on this Brussels sprouts kick right now.
Roasted Brussels sprouts are delicious.
I'll tell you, a week ago I couldn't stand them.
Really?
Yeah, and she goes, "Hey, you got to try these." So she started making them a few times, and then we were just traveling. We were out in San Diego for the Darren Hardy thing, and she saw them on the menu. She goes, "Let's order them." So we ordered them. Like, wow, these are fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I think because we all grew up eating Brussels sprouts that our moms boiled, and then just soaked in butter and is like mushy and disgusting. But I used to not like them either, but definitely lately I'm loving the Brussels. And there's so much like health value to them.
Oh yeah,
a lot of good stuff.
I think I have this belief that I'm screwing them up by mixing bacon and all sorts of other stuff with them, but I'll take it. It's, right? It's like a net. It nets out to be okay for you.
Right.
I don't know,
yeah,
but
at the end of the day,
yeah. But it's what is it? And every time I end up going, I don't like those. I think, you moron. How are you talking about these things, saying, oh, you got to go do this, you got to get up at 4:30, and you go, I don't like Brussels sprouts.
right?
So get over yourself and try it.
Yeah.
And I guess, what is it? If you eat them like 7 times, you like them after that?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I used to hate like mussels and clams and stuff like that when I was a kid. But it's interesting as I've gotten older. Now I really enjoy those and I like it. But it wasn't until like my 30s that I started liking them. So.
And your kids go, "What are you eating?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like someday you'll understand.
Exactly.
All right, so you're marooned on an island and you only can bring 3 CDs with you. What albums do you take?
Can they be audiobooks?
I guess they could be audiobooks.
Oh boy. All right. I'm going to go with a little bit of Americana.
Okay.
I kind of like Willie.
Okay.
I'd probably do a little
Willie Nelson.
Yeah, a little Willie and Waylon together.
Okay.
I don't know what their greatest hits together or something like that. Kind of a little bit relaxing. I would take the audiobook of The Compound Effect with me.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. That'd be one of them. And then maybe a little more upbeat, some Journey probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah, exactly. A little upbeat stuff.
Nice. That's awesome. That's so great. What about your first car? What was your first car? I'm always interested, hear people.
76 Ford Granada.
Dude.
Yeah, 4-door. It was this awful faded yellow, kind of creamy color looking thing with a half soft top on it.
Oh,
it was,
one of those.
Yeah.
But it was freedom, right?
Right. Yeah. It was get you around.
Yeah.
So the thing guzzled gas like nobody's business. It was, this massive carbon footprint.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. That's so great. Well, any parting words? Do you have any words for, maybe any agents out there or, people who are interested in furthering their career, their business, their, entrepreneur ideas? Any parting words for us?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say the parting words that were the best for me, and that's, stay humble and stay hungry.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for giving up your time. I know you're a busy man and you have a lot of responsibilities. So I appreciate you being here and wish you all the best and continued success. And, I just hope that you continue to go out there and continue to inspire people as you already are, I know. And so, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me here, Mark.
All right.